dive into all of the good stuff that all of you guys need to know. So I'm Sina Cooper. I'm the Director of School Engagement for Project Lead the Way in the state of Illinois. I also happen to be the, competition administrator for our Illinois engineering design competition. I'm also an engineer. So Elliot, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, Elliot Mork, Associate Director of Development at Project Lead the Way. My work focuses with our strategic partnerships with Project Lead the Way and specifically employee engagement and the innovation portal. I manage that as a tool, and we host a lot of competitions on the innovation portal. I think we're hit 7 this spring so far, and the Illinois competition is one of that. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for judging. All these competitions, including the Illinois competition, would not be able to happen without judges like you evaluating student work and providing this opportunity for recognition to students all across the state of Illinois.
So with that, why don't we do quick introductions from the rest of you. We have 3 of you on, so Jane, if you don't mind going first.
What do you mean?
Oh, I didn't know you were there.
I've got a screen that shows nothing. It says error sharp 2046, and I've logged into join, and it just shows a screen with a bar across the middle.
Oh, because it doesn't even show us that you are logged into the GoToMeeting, so that's actually very interesting.
I see.
Elliot, what do you suggest? Should Richard jump off and jump back on?
There's 2 options to get on if you're on a computer, is either to download a client or to load within a web page, and whatever you did, I would suggest trying the opposite to see if that works.
What do you mean? I typed in https globalgotomeeting.com join, etc. I tried that. I can try it again.
You should be able to just click on the link in the email. That didn't work?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I did.
Oh, okay.
And I probably have an antiquated view of software on this computer.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that certainly will. I'm just trying to find out. You sent me a bunch of attachments, which I've got downloaded.
Don't bother with the attachments. You should be able to just click on the GoToMeeting link.
Yeah, I did, but nothing happened. I've got this bar across the middle of the page.
Yeah, I wonder if you have an old...
And it says error 2046.
Yeah, you must have an old browser. So I'll tell you what.
I do. They keep on telling me my Safari needs to be upgraded, but that's fine. They keep telling me that, and that's fine.
Do you see a link that something about download a desktop client? Something about the desktop version?
Where would that be, under what application?
It'll be probably in that same window that is showing an error that you can't see the screen.
I can't see any. There's nothing. There's just absolutely nothing at all. There's a bar across the middle of the page, like a mailbox slot in your front door.
All right, just one second.
Join the meeting.
So in the meantime, Richard, what I would suggest you do is listen, and then we can send you we have like I think we recorded, I don't know if we're recording this one, but we recorded our session from a couple weeks ago, and that would have the voice with the slides, so that might help as well.
Yeah, okay. I might even have speaker mode here, I don't know. Trouble is, if I touch something, something's likely to screw up.
But you can hear us, so that's good, and we can hear you.
I can hear you, and you can hear me.
Good.
So that's okay, but yeah, the trouble is my telephone has, what do you call it, icons on it. There's no English words, and despite my country of origin, English is my native language. And the university sort of deals in icons all the time. They don't sort of have much information about what's actually behind the icons. I can open those. I got this PLT. Yeah, sorry.
I just sent a link through the chat box if you have access to that, and that is a link
I don't think he has access to that. It's my guess.
No, more fundamental question. What's a chat box?
It is the box where we can all as a group see messages to each other. It should be a menu called chat, but you may not see that if you're airing.
It's in GoToMeeting. What's that?
Can you send them that in an email if you have the email address?
Yeah.
I've got an email address here that says https globalmeeting.go to meeting.com/join/613127413.
Yeah, but here's the I just sent you the file that or the link that Elliot set up. But my suggestion, Richard, is why don't you just listen, and then we can do the. I'll send you a link to the video, and you can just watch that. And after we're done. So, but could you do me a favor and introduce yourself, and we'll have the other ladies introduce themselves, and then we'll get moving.
I'm Richard Keene. I work at the University of Illinois in the Department of Mechanical Science and Engineering, and I've been a Project Lead the Way affiliate professor for a long time in IED and Project Lead the Way Principles of Engineering. So that's what I've got. Yeah, that's me.
Okay, thank you. All right, Jane?
Hello, hi, can you hear me?
We
can
can.
I can, yeah.
Oh, hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jane Mahadesh Kun. I work as an IT professional at Chevron here in San Ramon, California. So I actually have a background in engineering, but then I got several assignments. I happen to get several assignments in information technology. So I look at this description. So for this volunteer work, and it looks pretty interesting, and I hope that I can contribute to this event.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Judy? Judy, we can barely hear you.
I can't hear at all.
Judy, do you have, I don't know if you have maybe you don't have a speaker. All right, we'll skip over Judy for a minute. Ellie, are you there? I see you're on mute.
Yes, I'm here.
No, Ellie.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm here. My name is Ellie Morrison. So I studied chemical engineering for undergrad, and I work at Solstice Mobile right now. So we do product and delivery here. So we do a lot of mobile projects. We do some responsive web, but we do mostly a lot of computer engineering, and then working with some of your bigger companies to roll out new products.
Great, thank you. I think Judy is just going to call back in on her phone in a minute, so why don't we go ahead and get started, and then we'll circle back to Judy in a minute. So thank you again, all of you, for being a judge for our Illinois engineering competition through Project Lead the Way. So very briefly, because I'm not sure everybody knows what Project Lead the Way is, we are a K-12 STEM curriculum developer, essentially, and we work with schools that want to offer our curriculum. Everything is very hands-on, project-based. This competition is based on a course called Engineering Design and Development. It's typically a junior or senior level course in high school. The students go through and start out by identifying a problem, and then they will develop potential solutions to that problem. They will develop a prototype, and then they will kind of bring it to completion. They will follow an engineering design process that's been laid out for them. The important thing with the competition is that this is all about the process. So even if they come up with kind of the worst idea or the best idea, we are not judging them on the engineering kind of criteria of their design or how innovative it is. We're really focusing on how well do they follow the process. So Elliot will show you later that there are a variety of elements and steps, essentially, that they are expected to go through. So that's what you'll need to focus on when you do the judging of this, is how well did they follow those steps. A couple things I just want to mention. So one of our sponsors is Abbott, and they have been with us. This is our second year, and they have provided actually cash prizes to our students. So we have a total of $5,000 that will be awarded to the top 3 teams, so we're super excited about that. The way our process works is teams submit their portfolios through the innovation portal, which we'll all learn more about today. We expect to have, my guess is probably 50 submissions. You guys will all judge, and then we will narrow that list down to the top 6 based on the scoring, and then we will invite those 6 teams to present to an in-person group of judges, a panel of judges at our PL2W Expo, which we're going to hold in Chicago in approximately a month. And then we will have those teams come and present, and we'll narrow those 6 down to 3. So we're really excited about the event, and again, we're very excited that you're able to participate in this. And if you happen to know anybody who is also interested in potentially judging, please send them our way. So with that, I'm going to turn everything over to Elliot. He's going to go through a lot of the logistics, and we will have an opportunity for questions as well.
Thank you, Sina. First off, I want to let you know that this session is being recorded, and this you'll get a link after the training with a link to YouTube. If you want to look back on any one thing in particular, you'll have that for your reference. So I just wanted to let you know it will be recording. If you have any questions while I'm going through this, we're a pretty small group today, so feel free to just jump in and ask me a question, but I will pause for questions once in a while. What we're going to do today is these 8 steps. The first 2 you should have already done, but I think at least one case not done this yet. But we're going to make sure your browser is up to date. The innovation portal does that automatically when you go to it, and then we're going to create an innovation portal account for you and get connected to the competition. And I think most of you have already done that. If not, we're going to make sure we have that done before the end of the call today. We're going to do an overview of how the online system works with the innovation portal, how to access portfolios that are signed to you for you to review, a little bit about the rubric you'll be using to evaluate student work. We'll show you how to access the rubric, and then I'll show you how to access some scored examples to really get you calibrated for how to evaluate these portfolios. The rubric is pretty exhaustive and a lot of resources for you to utilize, and including some scored examples that higher education and high school teachers have come to consensus on, that a particular portfolio gets a particular score to help you as evaluators calibrate those scores. One of the challenges of judging an online competition is you don't get to walk around the room first to look at everything to kind of calibrate, and so we provide you those scored examples as that calibration tool. And then the last thing I'll show you how to do is submit scores once you've evaluated the portfolios you've been assigned to Sina. Reviews will be assigned April 22nd, so just about 4 days. The judging then will be due May 8th, so you have a window to do that evaluation of the portfolios once you're assigned to them. If you have any questions about technical issues on the innovation portal, or how to access something, or something's not working quite how you think it should, and you might be hitting a glitch, or just want me to re-explain something, my email, emork@pl2w.org, or Sina's, which you already have access to. You've received a couple emails from her. So how to get connected to the competition, there's a couple steps to that. The first is to create an innovation portal account. There's no unique judge account on the innovation portal. Every account is the same. It's free and open. Through support of Chevron, they've created this tool with partnership with us to make it free access to all engineering students and anyone that wants to use this tool. The first is to create an account. The second is to give that email address to Sina, and with that email address, she can send an invitation to you to get connected to the competition. You look for that invitation. You should receive an email in your email box, and also there's an alert system within the innovation portal to let you know when you're invited to a specific opportunity within the innovation portal. And then the last step is to accept the invitation to connect your innovation portal account to the competition that's being hosted on the innovation portal. So an overview of how this competition is going to work. First, before we get going here, there's a competition that lives on the innovation portal. Students are over here on the left creating their portfolios, and the first step they have to do is register for the competition. They have to tell Sina that they intend to put their portfolio in, and that they're going to be submitting their work to the competition to be evaluated. Once students actually register, then Sina, as the competition administrator, can communicate with those students and tell them about the submission window, which is April 13th through 21st, and start recruiting and communicating to judges in preparation for those portfolios that will be submitted so that she can recruit the right amount of judges to evaluate the portfolios that students are submitting. Students are submitting April 21st, and then SENA's taken a day to make sure those are all the correct submissions and then sending them out sometime during the 22nd when we get those all in, and then can send them out to judges. So students are creating their work right now in the submission window. When they're done with their work, they take a copy of their portfolio and they send it to the competition. And then SENA has access to the portfolio that the students have worked on. And there's going to be a lot of them. I think SENA said she's expecting about 50 portfolio submissions right now. Once on the 22nd, when we know that we have all the submissions, she's going to click a magic button that there's an algorithm on the innovation portal to assign those portfolios out to all the judges. So you'll receive the portfolios that you are going to be reviewing when she sends those out. And those are automatically distributed out to all judges, the right amount, to make sure each portfolio is reviewed at least 3 times by 3 different judges. So you'll have access to those. You'll have some time to review those, assign them scores, and then send the scores back to SENA, which then the Innovation Portal will automatically rank the portfolios that have been submitted, and SENA will know the top scoring submissions will float to the top for her. So a little bit about how students are using the portfolio. Each portfolio is on the Innovation Portal. Each portfolio, I think of it as a 3-ring binder with tabs along the right-hand side. Students can work on a portfolio to put information there about how they're solving a problem and using the engineering design process to address that problem. They can invite project partners into that portfolio to collaborate and work on the same portfolio together, and they can invite as many other project partners as they want to. They can also invite their teacher, and their teacher wouldn't want to collaborate with them on the portfolio, but they can see and review all of the work that is being done in the Innovation Portal, so they can keep up and make sure students are on task. Students can also invite project mentors, so they can send out a review, the same type of review that you're going to be doing within a competition. They may have had mentors review their portfolio, score it for them, and give them feedback. It's just when you are reviewing, it's not just for feedback, it's going to be to actually evaluate it for the competition. Once the students are comfortable with where their portfolio is at and all the work that they've loaded up into the Innovation Portal, they can take that portfolio and submit it to the competition. In this case, it's the Illinois State competition, but there's multiple competitions run on the Innovation Portal. Like I said, I think we have at least 7 this spring. One of those was a national competition with hundreds of submissions and hundreds of judges, and if students were done with their portfolio when that was due, they could submit the same portfolio to that competition as the competition that they're going to be submitting to in Illinois, if they're eligible for it. And then students can have multiple portfolios on the Innovation Portal. They can work on the portfolio in several different design classes that they have and keep those portfolios throughout time. Their accounts don't expire at any time. So at this time, I'm going to step over to the Innovation Portal live and show you some things on that and check to see if there's any questions right now. All right, with no questions, I'm going to go ahead and show you the Innovation Portal. So the first screen that you see when you log into the Innovation Portal is this screen. It assumes that we are going to work on a portfolio. Along the left-hand side is the menu bar, and we have highlighted here My Portfolios. That's the main thing the Innovation Portal does, is allow you to create a portfolio. You will not see any portfolios in your account unless you've already created one, because you're going to be evaluating a portfolio and you're not the normal user that's a student to create a portfolio. So I have a lot of portfolios visible here in the center of my screen that you will not have be visible to. You won't have anything here. You'll have a note that says you have no portfolios. Would you like to create one? As a judge, the first thing I want to call your attention to is the My Notifications tab right here on the left-hand side. If we click that, we go into a screen that shows all notifications that we have in our Innovation Portal account. This is where all of the invitations will be that SENA sends out to invite you to a competition, and then a notification for every student portfolio that you get assigned to evaluate. If you click the drop-down arrow on notification, you can see more information. And as we see here, this is what a notification looks like when we get assigned to review a submission. So you should have several notifications here. If your email, you should receive an email with every notification as well. I know there's some people from Chevron on the call. We've identified an issue that even before it gets to your inbox, Innovation Portal is being blocked if you have a Chevron email account. And so in that case, you'll have to log in and actually manually check the notifications here. The next thing I want to show you are the opportunities. We named these opportunities because there's other things going on other than competitions, but about 90% of what we're doing on this tab are actual state or other competitions. So currently we can see a few happening right now. We have the Illinois state competition, we have Oklahoma, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then we have a couple other ones that are current as well. These competitions are currently in the student creation phase, so they are creating portfolios to submit, and then we have several that have already passed that phase, and they are in the past. So we see the 2016 Illinois Engineering Design Competition right here. Once you get assigned a submission, it will not live here anymore. It will go over into the past button up here. This filter I'm highlighting right here, this past button. When we click that, we can see all competitions that have already passed their submission deadline, and this competition will move into that past bucket because the submission deadline will have ended, and that's why you have the review to review. So for this training example, I'm going to go ahead and click on past. And this is another list of competitions that have already passed that date. So we can see here there was the 2015 Illinois Engineering Design Competition. This one will disappear when the 2016 competition moves over, and you'll see the 2016 version instead of the 2015 version. We have a couple different competitions happening right now. This Kansas City competition is currently in that judge evaluation phase that the Illinois competition will be entering on the 22nd, and so they're in that phase right now with judges judging. For the purpose of this training, I'm going to go into this training example competition, but you will be clicking the 2016 Illinois Engineering Design Competition. But to go into this training example, we can go ahead and click that button there. I know that I'm a judge in this competition because of this blue bar here on top. This blue bar tells me that I have judge access to this competition. All the general public information about the competition is loaded on this page. There's not much here for the training competition because it's just something I use to run these judge trainings. So there's not much in the description here, but the Illinois should have some descriptions about the competition. And then on the right-hand side, the registration open and close date for that window of when students can register their interest, and then the submission open and close date when they can actually submit portfolios. You'll also see some more information about who is eligible to submit to the competition. Once we're assigned the reviews, what we want to do is actually look at those portfolios, that student work, and so those are called reviews, and we want to click on the Reviews tab to actually see the reviews that we've been assigned. And these are specific to us once CENA has assigned those student submissions to our account. So we've now gotten to this Reviews tab. We see our name, and then the first thing we see is completed reviews, 9 out of 11. For your account, you should have less reviews to do, and when you first see it, it should be 0 out of however many number that you are assigned. For this account, I have completed 9 reviews, and I have assigned myself 11 reviews. So I've run 9 trainings since I've created this training example a couple weeks ago. So if we scroll down, we can see all the portfolios that we've been assigned to review. The first one that we see is the 2 lawnmower Kickstarter, and the status of that review is complete. So I've already completed that one. So we're going to go into one that is active that I have not completed. So if we scroll down to the first one that is active, we see the Crutch beverage holder. It is active, meaning I have not completed the evaluation. So we're going to go ahead and click that to view the student work. The first page that we see when we click this is the cover page. On the right-hand side, we have a new menu bar. We have these letters A through N, and we have the portfolio cover page. So the only content on this page right now is the cover page. And again, going back to that 3-ring binder, how I like to think about it is that plastic insert in the front cover. There's no real content. There's just a cover page to show who are the team members, and what is like a picture of our product, something pretty broad. We can see more content on this cover page by scrolling down, grabbing that scroll bar and scrolling down. Or if you have a wheel on your mouse, you can use the wheel to scroll down. So sometimes students load different information. Looks like here they have a picture of the product with them, the Crutch beverage holder product that they designed here. This is an example that we've removed some identifying information from so that we use it for these public trainings. So on the right-hand side, right now we're active on the cover page. The first content that we need to evaluate is on tab A. So I'm going to go ahead and click tab A to load up that student content. And I actually need to click that A to load different content that is within that tab. So again, we can scroll down. This is all the student information that they have loaded up to address the work, to address A. This category, there can be pictures, there can be text, there can be links, there can be videos embedded, a bunch of different content. It's effectively a web page. And one thing I want to mention is that we try not to penalize students for formatting issues, because building the web page, it's kind of responsive to your screen size, and it may look different from how the students built it. And so we're not really looking too much at formatting and evaluating how the students formatted their content, but more on the content of what they're saying and what they've done. If we hover over A on the right, we can see what the category A is. It is presentation and justification of the problem. And this is where we get into that rubric. This is a rubric that was created over several years with an NSF grant that brought together engineering educators in the secondary and post-secondary world to come up with and standardize an engineering design process similar to the scientific design process and how it's standardized, so that we could host these engineering design competitions regardless of the content students are covering and what engineering discipline they're covering. It's a similar process of how they actually solve the problem. So this is somewhat analogous to a science fair project where you're evaluating how closely students followed the scientific process and their attention to methodology, except translated over to engineering. And so that's what this engineering design process is. The first element is A, presentation, justification of the problem, and you have a few different pieces at your disposal as a judge. The first thing I like to look at are the reflective questions. They're worded this way because when I work with students, I tell them this is kind of like a checklist, this list of questions here. This is the checklist of things they need to do, and they can ask themselves this question to see whether they've actually covered everything that they need to cover in topic A, presentation and justification of the problem. So the first one is they need to offer a clear and concise problem statement that offers cause and effect phrasing and includes some level of data or statistics about the severity of the problem, and then on for each bullet point. So this gives you a good overview of what element A is covering and what you will be evaluating, what topics you will be evaluating, or what points of the process. The second thing you have available to you is the actual element scored rubric components here. So we have 5 highlighted here. We have a scale of 0 to 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just up the linear scale up there. And when we have a text description of what it takes to get a score of 5 on element A. So I can let you read that, but each one has their own text. If we click on 4, we can read the text for 4. Same with 3, same with 2, same with 1, same with 0. If there's no content that students have loaded in a tab, then the score is 0 just because there's no content there. So this is a linear scale ranging from 0 to 5, and what that means is the distance between 0 and 1, and 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5 are all the same. So it's a smooth scale up, and you have these text descriptions to help you. It's kind of like a staircase. You take one step up, and it's linear because each step you take is the same height, and you'd want a staircase to be the same height. One difference that it is not a staircase, though, is that if the student work is between a 3 and a 4, depending on the text descriptions, if you're reading the student work and then reading what a 4 is and what a 3 is, and you think it's higher than a 3 and lower than a 4, it does not need to meet the full requirements of a 4 to get scored as a 4. It just needs to be closer to 4 than 3. So it's a scale of best fit and not a threshold like a staircase. So we can read all those text descriptions, and those are pretty great. A lot of great resources as evaluators. If we close that, however, scroll down. We also have scored element examples. Let me blow that up again. We have scored element examples on the bottom right as well for each element. So for this one, what this is, actually, before I tell you what it is, center your, if you have the screen available to you, keep your eye on the upper left-hand part of the screen as I click this. If you don't have the screen available, what's happening is a PDF document is opening in another tab in my browser. So your browser may download a PDF document, or it may open another tab and it may go to it automatically, or it may not go to the tab automatically. But we have a PDF document here with a lot of information about this specific score on this specific element. So we have element A and a score of 3 is what we've opened up here. The first resource we have available to us is a description from dozens of engineering educators that have come to common consensus that this element, or this student work in the element, has scored a score of 3 for A. And they've come, a panel of people much smarter than me have come to this consensus and written down their thoughts about why this work is a score of 3. So you have insight into their thinking of why this is a 3, why it's not a 2, and why it's not a 4. First, you have 2 paragraphs. Then you have a highlight of what element this document is relevant to. Within the scope of the full rubric, all 5 components and all 14 elements. If we scroll down further, we have the detailed rubric of this. We have the detailed rubric of this element A, description of a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, with 3 highlighted because this content is a 3. If we scroll down some more, we see that actual student work that was evaluated as a score of 3. And again, just to call out the formatting issues, some of these formattings is just because this was a print and it was rendered on a wider screen than it is tall, but when you print a document out, it's taller than it is wide, so it may look a little bit funny because it is a web page. But the content that the students uploaded here is a score of 3. So we can scroll through this content. One example I like to show here is a pretty cool problem. You may have varied levels of engineering work that is done on the Innovation Portal. This project was a pretty cool one. Up in a northern climate, they replaced some incandescent bulbs with LED bulbs for stoplights. And that was great because it saves energy, but then they found in the winter that's not so great because sleet and ice will actually block the lenses for LED bulbs. And so the city had to spend a lot of money to send crews out to clean those up so motorists could see if the color is red or green or yellow, so they wouldn't get in an accident. And so they're saving electricity by changing LED bulbs, but they're not saving because they're sending out crews to clean them off. So the actual waste heat that incandescent bulbs were using up was actually heating up the lenses on the traffic light bulbs. So pretty cool issue that the students tackled, and I think this one is still outstanding. So if you could solve that one, you could get rich and buy a home where it's not so cold, maybe. So you have all this student information that they loaded in. You have all the thoughts behind it, and that's just one score of one element. So we're going to click back over to the portfolio. We have element A open right now, and that was just a score of 3 within this element, and we have that for every score down there as an example. So we can use that to calibrate ourselves. When we are not actually scoring on the right-hand menu, though, so once we've decided, this work to the left here is a score of 3. If I click this 3, it is not scoring it as a 3 right here. I need to open up the score sheet before I can actually upload my scores. The way you open your score sheet is on the bottom right-hand side without the right-hand menu expanded. There's a little blue pen icon. If you click that blue pen icon, you open up your score sheet. And this is similar, going back to that science fair analogy, to the clipboard with evaluation sheets that you have. So this is your clipboard as a judge that you get to open up to actually load your score into. So I was saying that this is a score of 3, but maybe if we get to this point, we can say this is a score of 3, and if we're not quite sure, we can click a little plus icon next to the 3, and we can move this window around and look at that rubric again. So I can look at a 3, I can look at a 4, I can toggle that back and forth to view the rubric as I'm deciding. And then this kind of becomes difficult with screen real estate, so we can close that window by clicking the X to get rid of that window there. But after reviewing that, we think it is a 3. We can click 3, and then we can also load a comment in here as well. So we can write something in here. Maybe I think this work is great, but it's a 3. So that's our comment as a judge. Everything we do as a judge in here, in this comment box and in this choose score sheet scale here, everything is saved every couple microseconds automatically by the innovation portal, so there's no save button. It's just constantly always being saved. We can click the close panel button here if we want to close that out. And then we can open that up again to see that it's saved with score of 3, and we have this comment here. So we can go to tab B. This is the next one, the next element that we'll be evaluating on. Oop, logged out somehow. All right, let's log back in. All right, tab B. So we're on tab B, and we can open up our score sheet here. So maybe we've reviewed this student content and we think this one was a lot better and is a score of 5. So we can put the 5 there, and we can type in our comment. This element was awesome. All right, so that's a 5, and we put our comment in, and then we can close the panel out again. And then we can open it by clicking that blue pen icon in the bottom right-hand corner. So we're going to do that repeatedly for each element, A, B, all the way through N. So we're going to evaluate each portfolio based on that rubric on the right-hand side. Once we've done that, we can click this complete review button in the upper right-hand corner. Once we click that, we get to what I like to call the Amazon shopping cart page. This page is like your checkout. You get to review what you've done and make sure that you actually want to send off and do it. This is your page to review your work and then commit to it. So we can scroll down and see that we have a score submitted for A. Looks like I have a 5 here, and I caught a mistake, and I can actually go back. So I click the back button in my browser. I can go back to that review, go to A, open up my score sheet with that pen icon, and change it to a 3. And then we can close panel here, and then complete review again, and we should have our score of 3 and 5 loaded on the right-hand side here. We have our comments that we can review, and we have the rest of them not filled out. If we haven't filled out a score on an element, it'll be a question mark. For the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to leave the question marks there, but this is a clue to you to tell you that you missed an element to review, and you can go back and actually change that, just like I did to change that 5 to a 3 for the first one, A. If we scroll all the way down, we have a button here that says, I understand once I submit this, it's final. And then the complete review button. One thing an analogy I like to use here is that all those score sheets from that clipboard for you evaluating at the science fair, you actually have to mail those in, and you stuff them in the envelope and put a stamp on it, and this button is like that stamp, and then you drop them in the mailbox. So you can't change anything once you click this button. It's actually been submitted to CINA, and we need the innovation portal is built to not allow any changes once it's completed here, just so that the CINA can move forward with the competition. So once we click this button, we have completed our review. It is final, but we can still view it. The panel that it drops us into on the innovation portal on the right-hand side, the menu button, is My Reviews, and this is a summary of all reviews that you have been assigned or have completed on your innovation portal account. So if we scroll down, I think this one that we just did had to do with a crutch beverage holder. So this one here, and it is marked as complete. We can see that it's final and it's complete. So that one is done, but we can still go back and look at that student content. You'll always have that copy of the review that you did attached to the innovation portal account, and you can even see how you evaluated it. You can click on Review Summary, and it goes to that shopping cart page, but we can't change anything anymore, but we can view the work that we've done. So if we can't change anything, and we can go back to review, but we can see the student work, and we can see all the student work that was loaded into this portfolio here. So that's what we'll do for each one. I want to show you one more time the opportunities on the right-hand side. So we've completed one. If we go to opportunities, And then remember, we'll click this past button here to go into that bucket. We'll look for the 2016 Illinois competition, but for this example, we'll go into the training example. Click into there, and I think we had 9 out of 11 done before, so if I click reviews, should be 10 out of 11 now because I've completed one of them. And if we scroll down, we see 10 out of 11 complete. And that's it. That's what you need to know to evaluate on the Innovation Portal. And I will pause for questions and allow Sina to jump in as well.
Need to give half points, or is it just whole numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't have 4.5 or 4.8 or 2.3 or anything.
No, it's that stair-step case of a linear scale of discrete numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And I noticed too, it says we don't have opportunity to fill in 2 of those. Is that right? M and N. Is that still true?
For the Illinois competition, Sina, you might know better, but there are some competitions that don't score certain elements, and I can check right here by looking at it.
No, we're scoring everything that can be scored. I think the only ones that don't get scored, it's not that they don't get scored. There is no specific entry, and I forget which one that is. I know you covered it, Elliot. It's the one where it's like overall technical writing, I think. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So you will score that one. There might not have been an element example in that one because because it's those 2 are overall for all elements, and we're still missing some of those scored portfolio examples. It's pretty complete, but for those holistic ones, we don't have like one example for the holistic.
So we do still grade, those last 2 are presentation of the project portfolio and writing like an engineer. So they're, like you said, holistic ones. We still grade them, okay?
Yes,
you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good question. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Hi all, this is Judy. Can you hear me now?
Yes. We can hear you.
My apologies, my headset was not working. So my one question is, what's kind of the average time that, say, like a new judge would be spending, like, per review?
Good question. I forgot to cover that. Yeah, so we have some pretty good data on this. The Air Force Academy used this at one point with a professor was using it there, and they're very particular measuring it. And the feedback that we got was that it takes, I think it was 2 minutes 3 seconds to create an account on average, and then to evaluate the first portfolio is just over an hour, and then to evaluate further portfolios just under an hour. And so if you average it all together, about 1 hour per portfolio.
And I had one follow-up question. So if by accident, you had all those lists, you can still submit and hit complete if you forgot. So like you can submit a question mark. It would not pop back and say, are you sure you want to submit? You have 2 that have not been scored or completed.
Yeah, if you click submit review and then scroll down through the question marks and click that radio button and then click submit, it will submit without any error messages. It'll just complete it. It'll complete the review being incomplete, and then at that point we're trying to troubleshoot an issue. So it's not automated then on the Innovation Portal. So make sure to check those scores before you finalize that.
Okay, thank you.
So Judy, one thing I do want to mention, and this probably goes for everybody. So couple things. So one is Elliot mentioned the date. I think is it May 9th. I said whenever we want all the judging done.
So the 22nd through the 8th, right? April 22nd through May 8th was the judging window.
Yeah. So I guess my biggest request is if something happens and you just can't get through them all, or you're struggling with the system or whatever it is, hopefully, first of all, the earlier we know, the better. That's the first thing. And second of all, if we get to May 7th and you say, oh my gosh, I ran out of time, that's fine. But, please let me know that you're not going to be able to complete them so that we can redistribute. We try to get 3 looks at a portfolio so that we can kind of average the score. So if we have to take yours out and reassign them, then we would have a chance to do that. The other thing is I honestly don't know how many submissions we're going to get. So my hope is obviously that we get as many, get a high number, but that also means it's going to be more work for you guys as judges. So I don't know yet how many each of you will be assigned. But if you have some specific limitations, like that you're not going to be able to get done more than 2 or 3, that's fine. We can just kind of manually do that. Just please let us know, if you've got some specific time constraints in those couple of weeks.
Great to
I have
know.
a question.
Sure.
Do you know when you're going to have that final number of how many portfolios each of us will get, or at least a rough estimate?
Yeah, so the submission window opened last week and closes Thursday night. We have had exactly 0 submissions. Last year, the exact same thing happened. They all came in, not even the last day, but the last 6 hours. So unfortunately, it's really hard to predict. And the way our system works is the students register. So I have 150 students registered, but I know that's not 150 teams. That likely represents every member on the teams, and it's usually 2 or 3 students per team. So my guess is it's going to be a total of 50. But I don't know, and I probably won't know until midnight Thursday.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry. Any other questions from anybody?
Well, this is Judy. I had one more.
Sure.
So how many judges total did you have volunteer for this event?
Let me look. I think I have. I think we're going to end up at about 20.
Nice. Thanks.
Yeah. So, but if you know anybody else who's interested, we have a couple more days to get people in the system, and we can certainly get them trained up. Because we still have to get Jane in our system, and then you have another colleague who's not in our system yet.
All right, with that, I want to say thank you. We don't get a very many opportunities to see you in person. Say thank you, so I want to make sure I take the opportunity here to say thank you for volunteering your time. I know it's not easy to translate on a virtual platform, but what you're doing is very important for students to provide the opportunity for them to get the recognition that their great work does. What happens in the classroom, it's hard to get that outside the classroom without these opportunities for recognition, and you're enabling that to occur for the entire state of Illinois in this case. So I want to say thank you, and then with that, officially close. And then if you have any additional questions or want to hang out on the line, we're happy to stay a little bit later and work through any specific one-on-one issues as well. But thank you.
Yeah, I think we wanted to sort Jane's out too. So thank you from me as well. And you have our contact information. If you guys have any trouble, let us know. Richard, you may have to get your browser updated even to do the online
I've
get in there.
Doing a lot of that stuff while I've been talking to you. I did look over the scoring and everything else, so I've got all the stuff and I can understand it. Yeah, it's just the
and I know you're familiar with
I
know you're familiar with it all. It's just I think to actually do it, we may need to get you updated. So.
But on the other hand, like I said, I enjoy this stuff enormously. It's really good fun because it. I don't know, it just makes the kids feel happy, and the more publicity they get and the more exposure they get, and it even looks good for the University of Illinois. So if they can come here and look around the place and see what the world's like, everything's good. So I rather enjoy it enormously. It's fun.
Good.
So no problem at all. Thanks. All right, so we're over, are we?
Yep.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
And thanks everybody else.
Thanks.
Yep, so Jane, if you stick around, we can get you set up, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
still
you.
here.
Thank you.
Bye.
Right, bye.